Okay, so welcome to our podcast. This is a little bit different today because this podcast is a spin-off of our radio show. This podcast is so unofficial, Max.
Okay.
But
I listened to a part of Joe Polish because I know Joe Polish.
Oh, do you?
Well, yeah.
That guy fascinates me, man.
That guy is fascinating. I'm not probably going to tell you that I got raped by priests and had to lie about it for all year. So I'll tell you whatever I can, but I probably don't have that in my back
Did you know that about him already?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did? I didn't know that. And then he starts talking, all of a sudden he starts, boom, he drops out. I was like, whoa.
I heard you guys like, wait, I saw you kind of reeling it in. Then you're like, wait, where can we take this?
Yeah.
Then there's like other questions like,
because I was kind of like, wait a minute, how do you overcome that and have intimate relationships? And how do you, first of all, how do you drop that on me? Because I didn't know, I was not prepared for that, you know?
Well, he's so funny too because, you know, he was a coke addict and, you know, and a sex addict. And like, he'll crack jokes about like, you know, that would be great for like a cocaine addict or something like that. I mean, he like pokes fun at it.
Right. He's got a great sense. Sometimes that's how you have to deal with stuff, is with humor. When you deal with the tragic stuff. Wait, so him being raped by a priest is common knowledge in his circle of friends?
I kind of just, yes, yeah. He said he was sexually abused and like, and in the Catholic, yeah.
Wait, so how do you know him?
I was in Genius Network or I still am technically for the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, that guy blows me away, man, how connected he is. And
he is honestly like one of the most connected people. I mean, it is last annual event as a surprise to the people that were going to the annual event. He had Tucker Carlson. Like, this is just a couple days after the election. Tucker Carlson, RFK, and Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, as he told me. He told, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, as like a surprise. So
he's got another one like in a couple weeks, and I think Tucker's going to be at that one too.
Yeah.
I can't tell if he's invited me or not. He keeps telling me, texting me about it and stuff. I'm like, so are you asking me to be your guest, or do you want me to buy a ticket to go? I just don't.
He probably wants you to buy a ticket.
I know, probably.
But he is funny about even that, about his business model, because he's like, yeah, I like dedicated slow learners, you know, that have money.
Yeah.
That's, you know, because then they just always want to learn. They keep coming back.
Yeah.
It's like, it's $35,000 to be in their group, and then there's a $100,000 group.
I know. So I went, I went to the grand opening of that the stem cell clinic you and I do in Cabo, and there was a doctor in his back room. His name was Dr. Pompa. Have you heard of that guy? So he's some chiropractor that does a lot of biohacking stuff. And I had seen him on Instagram before. And I walk into this room. They go, you want to be Dr. Pompa? I'm like, sure. I walk in this room. I go, oh, hey, I've seen you on Instagram. He's like, Genius Network? Are you part of the Genius Network? And I was like, yeah. I was just going to roll with it and see what he's like. Oh, so you know Joe Polish? And I was like, no, I go, I don't. And then he started talking to me some more, and I was like, what is this Genius Network? And then Joe started popping up on my Instagram, and then I got interviewed in a bunch of podcasts with people, and he was a guest on that podcast too. I'm like, who is this guy? And the dude, like, him and I graduated high school at the same time, rival high schools. Like, his whole story is fascinating to me. Yeah. But we're here to talk about you, Max Hansen.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, because you were going to say, you were in Vegas, and I said, I was going to ask you something. I didn't want to ruin it. This isn't the official start of the podcast, but it is. Okay. But it isn't, because you were talking about Vegas. Oh, I know what to tell you. You stayed at the Palazzo.
Yeah.
Ian, our friend Ian.
Yeah, I just saw him last week too.
You did? Yeah. He invited me. He goes, I'm going to this. It's called, I'm going to make it up, A24. Do you know what it is? It's a medical convention.
Yeah. No.
He goes, I'm going to this convention. It's December 10th, 11th, and 12th. He goes, you have to be a doctor to get in. And isn't that Ian right there?
Yeah.
You have to be a doctor to get in, but he's there.
But I'm going.
And he's not a doctor. And he goes, I'm going to get you in. And he sends me this link, and he goes, here, fill this out. Tell them you're a doctor. And he goes, and then I'll get you the passes, we'll stay. And I go, what is it? He said, there's like thousands and thousands of these biohacking booths at this doctor's convention where you do the red light, like whatever's going to come out 5 years from now. So I actually want to go, but I also think, isn't it illegal to pretend you're a doctor?
I mean, maybe not in that context.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'd rather ask for forgiveness and
right.
For
right. But that's him.
Ian, we'll move on, but I went to Ian's club that he's a member at down in Mexico. Can't remember what it's called.
Okay, yeah, where he's got in Cabo, where he's got the place.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a Four Seasons golf course, and there was like, I don't know, 20 of us that played golf. And at the end of the golf course, he had them. Keep in mind, it's a Four Seasons. He had tubs with ice and water in them, and we just stripped down, like on the golf course. Everybody just started taking their clothes off and jumped into these things in their boxers. Nobody cared. They just brought us tequila, and it was perfectly fine. Crazy. So I'm like, this guy can orchestrate some pretty funny stuff.
He says to me a couple months ago, "Hey, buddy, I'm doing this thing at Savannah, that place way up in Cape Creek." He goes, "You think you can come pop by for a minute? I want to show it to you." I go, "What do you mean pop by?" He goes, "Just pop by." I go, "Okay." So Blake and I go, and next thing you know, we're involved in a 3-day seminar, and I'm hosting it. I'm doing a bunch of stuff. I'm interviewing people. I'm being interviewed. It was great. But that's Ian. That's so Ian. But anyway, Max Hansen. All right, dude. This podcast I do, it's everything, right? I talk about everything with everybody.
Let's do it.
It started off being about health and nutrition, which, by the way, I mean, you are an incredible example of health. And then it started turning into, I started talking to like my successful friends, and I wanted to know about their businesses and where they started. And then I know I was on your podcast not that long ago, and then we were talking a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Man, you got to come on my podcast."
Yeah.
Because I remember when we were chatting one time about your career, and I was trying to figure out, because I'm going to ask you a bunch of dumb questions. Okay,
that's cool.
Because I don't understand exactly. But what is Y Scouts? That's your business.
Yeah.
You're the founder, CEO. You is it for lack of a better phrase, a headhunter?
Yeah. For that's probably not how we refer to ourselves.
I know. I didn't want to say that. I knew that would be politically incorrect.
No, it's okay.
It's like when people call me a DJ. Right? It's like, I'm not really a DJ. Right.
Yeah, maybe a morning host of a big radio station.
Right.
Y Scouts is a retain search firm. So we do higher level, C-level roles on a retained basis. So the difference is the other companies that I started, in 2002, I started my first company. It was a contingent firm. So we did a lot of contract to hire, and direct placement. But the difference between contingent and retain is contingent, you get paid once you find the person they want to hire them. Retained is they hire you because you understand a process, and they basically hire you in prepay to help have you go to market with them to go find them leaders. And it's all C-level stuff, some VP level stuff.
How do you get involved? How does that happen? How do you start? Are you in college? Where'd you go to college?
Yeah, so I went to NAU, which is kind of like Princeton of the West, if you don't know NAU.
Okay.
I was just thinking about this today because I'm preparing for my YPO speech when you graduate. So I'm trying to think of like clever things to explain my background. But so I went to NAU, and the one thing about NAU that I notice when I'm there is there's certain people that stay and get stuck there, and like I recognize that like I didn't want that to be me. You don't want to be stuck in FlexX, because next thing you know, there's 3-4 years have gone by, and you're like basically still getting out of college.
Right.
So I decided, like the day I graduated, I drove to San Diego. This leads to how I got in the business. So I go to San Diego. I live with my brother in Pacific Beach, and I like learned how to surf. And I thought I was going to be like, kind of a surfer guy, get a job in San Diego. But I actually interviewed places. I never got a job. I interviewed at Enterprise Rent-A-Car and didn't get hired.
Just as a person behind the counter?
Totally, yeah. And I didn't get the job. So anyway, I stayed about a month, and then my buddy was working at Aerotek, which is a very, very well-respected recruiting company. It's based in Baltimore, big company. It's one of the biggest companies. Actually, Steve Busciotti, the founder of Aerotek, owns the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, wow.
So this guy's like, nobody talks about this guy. And this guy, you think about it, he grew, a multi-billion-dollar company, bought the Ravens for probably $500 million. They're now worth like $2 or $3 billion, I'm guessing.
Did you ever interact with him?
We went to that company was so good, they flew everybody to headquarters and they spoke to you. So we got trained in Baltimore. So, but I got a job. My buddy worked for Aerotek here in Phoenix, and he called me and said, "Hey, we're interviewing." And I drove back from San Diego and got a job in the recruiting business.
So you're like 21, 22, 23?
Yeah, 21, 22. And back then, it was definitely a little different. Like a lot of the things that I do now go kind of counter, or they are things that I wanted to do different than what Aerotek was. But Aerotek was an incredible place to start. Like very well run, taught me the business in and outs. I learned more there. That was the best foundation I could probably have in recruiting, just learning, because it's a very well run company. But I worked downtown in the Xerox building, actually, which is like right across from Durant's, or whatever, if it's still Durant's, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's still Durant's. I was there yesterday.
Oh, what, is it open?
I parked there. but it's still there. I think they're reopening it. I think it's the State 44 guys.
Mastro's bought it. So I worked in that building. That's where I started my career, and I worked there for 2 years. And we had to wear a tie every day, and we could only wear a blue shirt or a white shirt. So like how I dress now and how I have people dress in my company is kind of directly reflective. I mean, it worked for them, but I remember thinking like, if I ever get to do this on my own, I am not making people like dress up every day, especially in Arizona where it's 110.
Yeah, right.
Wearing suits and ties. So I got my start at Aerotek and was there for 2 years.
So was it commission? How do you get paid?
Yeah, so I was just like an entry-level recruiter to start. I think I got promoted one time. And that's what kind of kept me in the industry is I made a direct placement because you can do contract to hire, which is you put somebody on contract and then eventually they can go direct, or direct placement. And I remember I had a direct placement relatively early in my recruiting career, and I can't remember the commission that I got. It was a good chunk of money. It was like $8,000 or something. This is
so way more than you would have been doing at Enterprise.
Yeah. And it made me realize like that was the moment where I started to think about it. I'm like, you know what? I could make as much in recruiting as I could being a doctor or a lawyer, but I don't have to go back to school. So that was kind of one of the things I remember thinking back to is like, this is pretty lucrative. And then like every person does, I knew I was in a line to be promoted and I didn't really want to wait to be promoted. So I quit that job and went to work for a small local company in Tempe for like $10,000 more base. And it was not the best step of my career. Like they like barely even had computers at this place. And Aerotek was so advanced that I felt like I jumped off an aircraft carrier and I was like floating in a dinghy. But now I had to go sell. So now my job was to go get job orders and bring them in and get recs. And so I did that pretty successfully for those years for that small company. The interesting part was, I won't call this company out, but the owners were so dysfunctional with each other and like the culture was interesting. Like it was just super interesting. So I kind of knew a lot from Aerotek, and I would always tell them like, hey, put me in charge. You know, I mean, I want to run. Can I manage the office and make the right changes and grow the business? Well, right when I was about a year and a half in, they were like, all right, we're going to put you in charge. And then 9/11 happened. And we did a lot of manufacturing and aerospace stuff. And like, if you remember what happened in 9/11, they grounded every airplane. Right. They shut they just stopped everything. And and then they were kind of like, why aren't you growing the business? I'm like, dude, it's like, it's like the pandemic and like you taking over and be like, why aren't you growing? So eventually it was weird. I just started thinking about it, and because that was so bad, in my opinion, the culture and how it was run, I was like, you know what? I don't know that much, but if I want to build it the way I want to build it, then I think I have to just go build my own company. So I met with like this guy that I competed against. He was like a couple buildings down, and he eventually became my business partner. So I started talking to him about, hey, I want to start my own company. And he worked for a smaller company, and he only had like, 2 or 3 employees in that office because it was a satellite office from a Minneapolis office. And I started meeting with him. I'm like, why don't we start meeting like, I don't know, a couple times a month, have lunch and start talking about starting our own business. So we did that. And then eventually he called me one day. He's like, hey, I have a customer that pretty much asked me the same thing you did. He's like, how many people work in your office? He's like, 2 or 3. And the guy was like, why don't you just start your own company? And so this customer was doing really well in the ACH business, which ended up being our business partner. But I met with him in like 2 hours. We decided to start a company. And so that was my first.
The 3 of you started what company?
Yeah, there was a 4th. It was called Job Brokers.
Okay.
So I started that. I remember I started in their office first. So they had office space for us, and we started that.
But you leave the Tempe company.
Yeah.
So what's your concern for income? Or are you a single guy at the time? You don't really have to worry about wife and kids or rent or.
Yeah, I was single. Yeah, that's a good question. Because even my parents, when I told them I was starting a company, they were like, because my parents aren't entrepreneurs. They were like, how much money do you have in the bank? They were more concerned like I was making a bad move.
Yeah, because you got to go, if you're making good money, like you said, you took that big that big bonus. How do you live? Or are you just like for me, I remember you didn't even think about that. You're just going.
I kind of didn't. Going. It was weird after I had that conversation with this, with the new partner, the investor. I remember I left. I had a girlfriend at the time. I went home. I was like, hey, I'm starting a new company. And usually you say that, but you're like, I was after that 2-hour conversation, the guy's like, let's do it. He's like, how much money do you need? And I didn't really know. I'm like, $200,000. And So we started.
He said okay.
He said okay.
He
Yeah.
had
He was like,
200,000.
oh yeah, he had so much. He had a ton of money just
Okay.
in from the credit card processing company he was in. So I started the company by myself, basically with a phone book, and that's it. I hadn't even named the company yet. So I'm sitting in this cube in the back of their office, which is a credit card processor. This is an Awatuki. And so we named the company. Interesting enough, from the very beginning, I named the company. I was going to call it Employment Brokers. And if you've ever started a company, you just go to the Arizona Corporate Commission and you start a company, right? You reserve the name, then you register the name, and then you start the LLC or incorporate it however you want. It was an S corp actually. So I'm thinking in my head, they're like, you can do this one of three ways. You could come down here right now and reserve the name. You could mail it, over and take 2 days, and then when it gets here, we'll reserve it. And then there was a third other option that was going to take longer. In my head, I'm like, nobody's chosen the name Employment Brokers, and all this time, I'm like, I'll just mail it. Well, sure enough, this guy came walking in, Jeff, the employment broker, that day, started that company. So I did all this branding and built the company. So the first thing I had to tell these partners was like, sorry, we have to change the name. And they were just like, you're such an idiot. I mean, that was like my start into entrepreneurship. So anyway, it became Job Brokers instead of Employment Brokers because this guy, Jeff, the employment broker, went and reserved that name. But that was the beginning. And that Job Brokers, with my old business partner, Ryan News, we were business partners for 13 years. We did, it was fun. Like, it was a good ride. After we got through 9/11, that 6 months to a year after that was a little bit slow. And then we hired over 50,000 people. So we went on to hire
Across the country?
Almost all in Arizona, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it was a good ride. We grew pretty much 100% every year for 8 to 10 years. So we're doing 40, 50 million. And then, I started to get a little bit, there was a lot of reasons. I just kind of wanted a different business model. Mm-hmm. Leadership search or retained search, what I do now, is kind of in some ways, it's kind of a step up, instead of hiring kind of mid-level. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
But for me, to advance my career, I kind of wanted to play at a different level and hire leaders, which could impact more people. And it's just,
Did you sell Job Brokers?
I sold them. Yeah, my business partner bought my half.
Bought your half? Yeah. And are they still around?
They are. It's rebranded as a different company now, but they're
same guys are running it.
Yeah.
So
he's good dude.
You said, I want out. They give you enough money if you're pulling in. I mean, they took care of you. It was a smart move.
It was interesting because we kind of, maybe talk for both him and I. We had so much success, and I think what you forget when you're an entrepreneur, this is kind of one of my pet peeves about most people that are successful entrepreneurs, is they forget that luck always has a place in the equation. But when you're successful and you've driven numbers like that for a long time, you think it's because it's only you. And so I think we both had a little bit of that, you know what I mean? So
ego?
Yeah, a little ego.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I don't need this guy, even though, I developed a lot of the business. It was a perfect match because he was more of an operational detail guy, mm-hmm. and I was a biz dev guy. And he was good at recruiting, and I was better at sales. So it was kind of like a natural, good 1-2 punch. But once we kind of grew and, all that, I think we both kind of got a little bit we thought we could do everything ourselves. And, that. But for me, the reason why I got out of that business is it got a little too transactional for me. Mm. Again, I don't want to bag on people. There is a place for contingent search and contract to hire and even interim stuff. But as I was in my career working for Job Brokers, I started to. There were three things. I was really good at business development, but when I realized what the best prey was, we were preying on the ineptness of people's ability to hire. So we would go into a company, I don't mean to talk bad about companies by any means, but University of Phoenix, for example, mm-hmm. we would come in and they hired us to help them build a kind of call center. They changed their process, and these are people that were pre-qualifying students before they got in process, and there was a ton of turnover. But that was actually part of the equation of success for us, was go find a company that has enough turnover, because on a contract to hire basis, you just keep filling the seats. And some stay and some don't, mm-hmm. and they don't really care. But for me, as I started to get older, and Maxwell was 6, 7 years old, I was kind of can I really feed my family? relying on the fact that there's going to be somebody just inept enough in something that I do. So I kind of felt like a little predatory. And as I got older, I'm like, I don't know if that's how I want to, I don't know if that's how I can feed my family. And then the other things were, it was back then there wasn't as much ACH, and like some of these big companies would kind of muscle me, and I'd have to go like drive there to get a check, like a $1 million check, because I'd have to pay the people, and then we had a line of credit when that ran out. So I wasn't that fun chasing money and having, big companies pretty much like, we'll pay you when you want a little bit.
But when you cashed out, when you sold out your part of the business, was that a moment where you're like, okay, I'm good for a while? Or were you like, I got to start the next thing?
No, it worked out good because it wasn't as easy to like get out of the company as I probably wanted to. Mm-hmm. So the process was, we were running job brokers, we were doing very well, making a lot of money. And then I started Y Scouts. And that's actually a super important piece to like the whole conversation, because we started Y Scouts as the first ever purpose-based leadership search firm, meaning our goal, and still today, is aligning people on soft skills and hard skills. And back in 2012, when we started the concept, I know now everybody, purpose and culture are table stakes. Well, back then it wasn't really like that. People were still figuring out that, that people were still turning people over because they weren't aligned to the soft skills of the role. So we were the first kind of company that we know, the first purpose-based leadership search firm on the planet that has a process to align people on purpose, values, or just culture, just soft skills, leadership skills, and the hard skills of, what the job needs. So it was, I think we started the category of one, but I think it was more of movement in general. Like I think most people and, our younger kids, like they want to work for a company that like is actually doing something that purposeful or has some sort of mission.
Yeah, that's big right now.
Or like at least they develop their people or care about the right things. So we started that in 2012, but I didn't sell the companies, back to your question, until 2015.
But you already had Y Scouts. So
but I had Y Scouts. Yeah, I conceptually was like, hey, I want to do something different. My partner was awesome. He's like supportive of everything. So then it took a while to sell the companies, but I already had started this. But the interesting part was I got to start it in a way where like I didn't have to make money from that company. I could test stuff out, and because that's what we did. A lot of the stuff that we do now, there's no way I would have had the discipline. If I needed to make money off that right away, I would have stuck with it way back then. So it was kind of almost a gift that I had to run the other companies as well, and started Y Scouts. So in the transaction, Y Scouts is more of kind of like a passion of mine to like start it more so than my partner. So in the transaction, Y Scouts wasn't making money. So he was like, why don't you just take that company? And so
now Y Scouts is making money.
Now Y Scouts is making money, yeah.
Right.
So I got to keep it because he didn't want to figure out how to run it because it wasn't really his thing. So I basically took it in the transaction and then sold it. So I had something to do right away. Right. Back to like one of your points you made before, which I think is interesting because I have a lot of friends in my YPO group. When we started in a forum, it's like usually like 8 to 12 people. Right. There was 5 of us right out of the gate that sold companies. And to your point, what I think is fascinating, I almost want to write a book about this. Every person that sells their company, or the people that I've met that sell their company, probably 75% of them go through like the most like depressive like point, because they're so important and instrumental in growing a business, and then all of a sudden they sell it and their bank account's full of money, but like then they don't know what they want to do, and they're lost. Right. I think this is just such an interesting like thing. You think if you had $50 million in your bank account one day and the next, like you could just look at your bank account, but it doesn't really work like that.
Because you need to do something, right?
Yeah.
So if you wrote the book, what would your book be about? After you sell, how you survive, or what's next, or how to conquer the depression of selling your $50 million company?
Yeah, I think it would be more of like studying the patterns, because I see it's like a bad movie I see over and over. I see friends that are chasing after this big transaction. They get there, they sell their company, and then they're like go through a state of like misery. There's got to be
for how long? Because a couple of my friends that have sold their companies, they're immediately starting another one.
Oh yeah, is
that the other part?
Probably
you either fall into depression or you just go to the next.
Yeah,
thing.
I think the people that don't have something right away are the ones that typically. So I naturally did, because I continued running a business, which hindsight 2020 was kind of a blessing. Yeah. But I did create a little bit of a runway for sure. I traveled a bit and did some stuff. It was like kind of right when Brian and I got married. So for the first year or two, I had somebody else running that company for a while. So
you kind of like took a break and traveled and did your thing.
Yeah.
Well, where did you come out with the name Y Scouts?
It's a good question. The Y Scouts, so there's this X theory and Y theory. As if you look it up, it was I can't remember the guy that used those terms, but it was like an academic. And X theory is that like people only work for money, like they're only like driven by money. And Y theory is that people want more than money, and they'll give you a discretionary effort if they, if it's something, if you give them something more, like a purpose and values. And then Y is like a fork in the road. And like when we were thinking about this is, again, back then this was a lot more revolutionary to like focus on soft skills and like there's
no, you're way ahead of what people are doing now.
Yeah.
Right?
So the why was like, hey, you're either going to be the person that just is always going to take jobs for money, or you're going to go the kind of the less traveled route and go find something more meaningful. And then the word scouts, the way we got that was we took what we thought at the time were our 10 biggest competitors, and we put like a word cloud of like, what words they use most often on their website. Not one of them used the word scouts. And I'm a big sports guy. I mean, you with all your boys. And so the word scout to me, like if you're really good at what you do,
you're scouting for the best athlete.
You're seeing leaders before everybody else is.
Right.
So that was
kind of, you give me some goosebumps there.
Yeah,
that's great.
So that's how we came up. So one of the funniest parts of this was, I remember when we figured out what purpose-based recruiting was. Like we were like, what is this called? And we like created the category. We're like, this is purpose-based recruiting. So we put it in Google. I remember I was in a conference room. This was this guy, Brian Moore, a good friend of mine. And we put it in Google, and the only thing that comes up is the Boy Scouts.
Oh, wow.
So there was nothing out there on, purpose-based anything. So anyway, we kind of set out on that road, and creating a category 1, people think is like the end all, like where you've got it. Well, what I learned is when you create a category 1, you're creating a new sandbox that nobody has any idea of what it is. I'd go sell it to people and they'd be like, oh, that's fascinating. And then they would it's too much of a risk to do something that different.
Right.
Because they're using like old traditional like search firms. Now we've obviously built our brand up and we don't struggle, but we used to say Hypergrowth Struggles is probably the biggest retained search firm worldwide, especially definitely in the US. So we used to always say nobody gets fired for hiring Hypergrowth Struggles, because we were kind of like a whole different route. Things have changed now. I think people, again, the whole aligning people on soft skills and hard skills, people know it's that important, and that culture matters.
What are some of your clients? Who are some places you've placed? Like examples of your work?
Man, most companies that we work with multi-billion-dollar companies. Like I was just on the phone with one of our clients today, Lemoyne Company. It's a billion-dollar construction company in Louisiana. But so most of them are 50 million to 200 million kind of fast growth companies.
But are they coming after you and they're saying, hey, we need a new CEO?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll come in and say, we do a lot of COOs, presidents, and CEOs. So they come to us and they have us hire their CEO. Like on the fitness side, we hired second in command for V-Shred. Do you ever see all those commercials?
V-Shred?
V-Shred, yeah. Based in Vegas. Oh, it's like a $300 million.
So they come to you and say, we need a new COO. And do you say, well, tell me more about the position? Or are you like, we got the guy? And is it through you've got like a database of people? Or do you go, I know this guy? Is it more human than AI? This
is a great question, because most people, the way they buy retained search in the past is they've always bought it in the traditional sense is I need to go find somebody that specializes in my industry. And so people come to us, and what we bring to the table is the role visioning exercise on the front end, because most people don't know what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. And I learned this back, when I was with job brokers and early on in the business days. But I learned it in a different way. There were so many things that I just learned and just instinctually knew. And when it comes to the role visioning piece, so that's one thing that I think we do extremely well. We actually built a piece of software that helps us do it even better. but it's basically taking information from multiple people, multiple stakeholders on their, it could be a board member, but like the team, like the main stakeholders, and getting clarity on what this person needs to achieve, especially in the first 12 months. I know it sounds kind of short-sighted, and when people are hiring a CEO or a president, they think like, oh, I need to figure out what this person needs to do to be successful for a long time. Well, the best way to do that is to figure out what they need to do for the first 12 months, because if they're successful in the first 12 months, they'll make it, to the next. So the role visioning piece was important. And the way I knew that that was a piece of the puzzle that was important was I used to go to big companies, what's a big company that you would know here? They're like defense contractors. Like, I don't know if you know some, they're big companies. And I'd go in there and I'd ask a hiring manager, like they give me a rec. So that was like the official job, like description. And then I ask them, like, what are you actually looking for? And it would be like, basically like one or two things on here. Like that's all they needed. And I'd go find them that. And I'd always get the person hired because everybody else was looking for all this. And so so just from the past, so we really help them understand, even get it out of their head and clarify what they're even looking for.
But V-Shred comes to you. How do you find the person for V-Shred? Do you
through our data, like we do have a database full of people.
And then you get 15 people, and then do you personally, were you involved with that, or is it people in your company?
I have a good team that does most of the search.
Do they run it by you first? Hey, what do you think we're going to pitch to Larry for V-Shred?
We have a transparent system. I can see an update like on who's in process at all times. So usually I don't have to get that far involved. Like they will handle the execution.
Do you ever pull somebody away from another career and you think, boy, this person would be great over here?
Oh yeah.
I know they don't do that, but you just cold call them.
100%.
Hey, you came up in our database or something. I don't know.
So no, the interesting part, at least I think it's interesting because I've been like,
I think it's interesting.
So, what we do is, yes, we always have a database full of people, but what we do different than most recruiting companies, and there's some retained search firms that probably do this, but I don't think as well, is that we don't ever post jobs. Like if I had to give advice to somebody on how to hire, like you post a job and like every single person knows how to use AI and rewrite their resume with your job posting, and then they all look good.
Right.
And so that's not the only reason why we did it. We genuinely wanted to align people on soft skills first. And it's human nature, especially in the United States, to basically tell somebody in an interview, it's like a game. You want to tell them what they want to hear to get the job.
Right.
And so what we started to think about was we don't want them to know what the job is. So when we reach out to candidates, so we do have a database full of people, but we also put together a customized search strategy, and we reach out to candidates and we do covert discovery, which means I reach out to you and I say, hey, I've got a role that we're retaining exclusive on. And this company cares so much about the alignment on culture and competencies. We want to take you through a discovery process before we get into the details of the role and company. Are you cool with that?
But you just came, they're not associated with you. They haven't signed up with you. You just found, like if you came to me, you would find someone like me.
You would get like a cryptic text with that same message, and then you get an email, and then you get a phone call, and then you'd be like,
well, first you think it's scam or spam, right?
You might, but then you're like, wait, they're retaining it exclusive, and they just want to get to know me, because that's what people in the hiring in these days, they want everything to be easy. Like they want AI to like try to post it as many places as possible. That'd be the last way, I would say. If you want to hire the best person, the more places you post like all the information, the more everybody's going to know what you need, and then
you got to weed through a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. So our way is we determine who we're reaching out to. We'll determine 100 people that we're going to reach out to based off of a specific search strategy with our client. Show them the whole strategy. Here are the clients. Here are the roles within those clients. Here are the names of those people, and then we have a bunch of pieces of software to find their contact information, and then we do that covert discovery. And what it's turned out to be, which I think was fascinating, because when we started, this is what I'm saying. I started doing this a long time ago, and I started doing it when I still had the other company. And I thought I didn't think it would even work. I thought people would be like, F you and hang up. Like, I need to know. But as it turns out, everybody has become findable. Like if you're a C-level, if you're talented, I mean, if somebody wanted to find your contact information, they would figure it out.
Right.
So everybody's findable. So what we started to think about is how we engage with them is really the differentiating factor. And I think for any company, even doing their own hiring, I think that they do need to think about that. And those are the ones that are going to find the best people, because, I mean, all we do is super critical roles that are like mission critical for this company's success. those people aren't looking for work on job boards. Not that it's terrible. Not that I'm talking badly about people that have to look for jobs on job boards. But it would be like, you know, if we wanted a replacement for Kyle Murray on the Cardinals, which could be the case. I'm just kidding. Is you would you wouldn't post it. You know what I mean? You'd go find the 7 quarterbacks that fit the system that you're looking for, and then you reach out to them and get in an engaging conversation. And so it's been fun like that because everybody we're reaching out to, for the most part, is gainfully employed, and so they get into the conversation more out of curiosity.
You want to find somebody that's happy. And doing
happy,
great.
already doing a good job, and then you know you figure out like what they might not like about their job.
You want to put them in a position of like, yeah, you're happy, man, but look at this, right? You got to have them make the tough position.
Yeah, and the thing that blows my mind, even still to this day, is when it feels so good for people to be interviewed without knowing what you really want, because they get to just default to telling you the truth about themselves and being vulnerable about like what they want, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, because they don't know why you're asking the question. So we've just kind of put that iteration on steroids where we get to ask this person a lot of questions. And in it, for the candidate experience, they go into it, they're still like a little hesitant. And by the way, if a candidate's like, no, I don't want to do that. I need to know how much it pays and like who it is. Otherwise, I'm not going to tell you. They're gone. They're not the people that this company wants.
Whenever we've interviewed somebody, when they bring up salary right away, done.
Yeah.
We interviewed this girl one time. Remember, she brought up 5 times in the interview. We're like, see ya. But, so what would you say out of your years of doing this is the highest paid position you've filled? How much was that annually that they made?
Definitely over $1 million, you know, like 1.2, 3. Some of these CEO roles with, you know, because there's long-term incentive plans, they can get up there pretty high, but, you know, usually, and then, you know, we're usually charging a third or like, you know, 30% depending on what the deal is. So, I mean, it can be pretty lucrative in that sense. But most of the roles we work on, they're like, you know, total comps, like $500,000 to $700,000.
So what's your day like? If you run the company, you've got a great crew.
Yeah.
What do you wake up? Do you work out? Do you go to the office? Like how does your normal day go?
I wake up and I work out, you know, like I feel like, and I know my body doesn't like a workout first thing in the morning, but like, you know, once you have kids, you start to figure out like the only time you're going to actually like be able to get stuff done is you just got to beat them up, which, you know, you do every day. Right. I don't know how she deals with you waking up so early.
It's tough. It's starting to get tough.
But so I wake up, I work out. I typically spend most of my time doing like one-to-many. Like I'll speak at like, you know, a webinar or like, you know, presentations, or with we do it demos, like a demo of the process, because it's so unique that I can take like 30 minutes and walk somebody through it, and you know they pretty much got it. So a lot of time with customers, and then just internal meetings with my team. I'm building a piece of software too, so that's been consuming a little bit.
Do you do most of it from your home office, or do you go to the office?
No, I do mostly from the home office. I still like face-to-face, like with clients. Like if I can go meet them, I mean, I'm way better. Like I say this like half kidding, but I'm way cooler in person than I am like over Zoom.
You know, I believe, I agree with you. We just had this huge meeting with iHeart last week, and they did all this research. You know, everyone's scared of AI and all this stuff, and it was all about human connection and being a human being. That people want a human being. Yeah. And I think that's so important. They did all this, you know, when I was in college and learning about radio and how to speak, one of the things that were like red flags is you don't ever want to go, you know, you want to move it. Now all this research says that human beings like hearing that because they know you're a human being. AI takes all the pauses out of everything, right? So
yeah, and even like on that, like even now, people like enjoy a misspelling because they know that AI didn't write that because AI wouldn't have misspelled it. Right. Actually, what's interesting about AI and kind of like what we've been building with a piece of software is that we do that role visioning exercise on the front end, and it really helps get clarity on what they're looking for in the role. And we can do it really fast now because we can have people. We actually built this bot that people can talk to, and so we collect all the information. If it's not a person that if they want their time leverage, we can leverage their time and make it so these people can have a 15-minute conversation with a bot, and we can, from that 15 minutes, we can map out a whole strategy of like how to find this person. But I think the thing that I'm finding right now that's super fascinating to me is I started building this to help get clear on what this person needs to achieve be successful. And I built this piece of software, but I'm actually, what I think is going to be like the golden nugget in it is that because of AI, I think that you need to continue to define roles ongoing, meaning like you start a role, you define it, you get hired for it. And then maybe 6 months, you probably need to redefine it again. And the reason why is I think the most successful companies, what they're doing now is they're putting a line in the middle, and they're having these people define what a machine does, so what AI can do, and what the human does in it, because it's going to continue to change at a pretty rapid rate. Mm-hmm. And as human nature, we kind of get territorial about what we do. But the smart companies, they need to be they're going to be very forthcoming about like, this is what the person does, because eventually there's going to be a lot less things that the human does, but you're going to want to find the human that can do those human things better, to your point.
You're right.
It's going to be more about connection and things like that. Right. You don't need a person that's like really good at, financial modeling when like that can be done with an AI bot. So I don't know if that's been cranking around my head the most, is like that redefining of a role right now should be like a normal thing, but people don't do it as often as I think that they should.
No, I think you're right. Getting back to the working out thing, I want to talk about your biohacking and all the health tricks, because you're obviously in great shape. You're shredded. Your veins are popping out of your arms just sitting here talking. What are your must do's every day?
I think over the years, so this started like I played a lot of sports when I was younger, and so I was in really good shape when I was younger just because I played so many sports. And then I played a year of college baseball, and that wasn't that great at Glendale Community College, and I moved on. And then in college, I drank and smoked cigarettes and like did all those things. And so, but then I got to this point in my life. I remember when Maxwell was when my ex-wife was pregnant with Maxwell, and I remember looking. I don't know why this was the moment, but there's always a moment like, and I know your health, why right. You start working out. But I think you always got to figure out like what got this person to like want to be in shape. And for me, it was, I know this sounds stupid, but Maxwell being born, and I wanted him to meet the person I really was, which was, I felt like I was more of an athlete and in shape. So from that day, that was, he's 20, almost 21. I've been basically, working out like pretty heavily, right. 4 or 5 times a week. Now I feel like since I've done it for so long, I you probably do the same thing. I try to actually find the stuff that is the least path to resistance to staying in good shape.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I was just talking to my buddy that I went to Vegas with this past weekend. He's like, I'm like, how many days do you actually lift a week? He's like, I lift 5 days a week. I'm like, you lift 5 days for what? Well, you can just lift heavy 3 days a week, take the days off, let your body, reset, and you're probably gonna like, if you've been lifting 5 days a week for the last 3 years.
But he's lifting 5 days a week, like serious lifting?
Well, he broke it up. He told me he's basically hitting everything twice a week. I was like, dude, you're 50-something years old. Your body needs to like rest and right. rebuild.
Yeah, recovery. So
and it's
important.
It's the whole process. So anyway, I do a 3-day splits right now. So I'll just lift heavy 3 days a week and try to do, cardio for at least 2 or 3 more days.
What's your cardio?
I'll hike Camelback once a week. Play pickleball in a league for 2 hours one night, and then usually like ride a bike or like I've been contemplating running, and I'm not a runner.
Oh, running sucks.
I know. And then if my weeks are really good, I like to do like a VO2 max day. So it's like 4 minutes on something, 4 minutes off, like doing
that's
that
so
4
important
times.
right there for your HRV and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So when you say a VO2 max day, what are you doing? Are you doing the what do you call it? Bike?
Usually sprinting on a treadmill, or like now I'm thinking about sprinting outside just because it's nice out now.
Yeah.
But 4 minutes of like going after something really hard is
fantastic.
It will put you out of breath. Because I also think, like, to me, it became kind of second nature. Is I think if you do one thing every day, it would be put yourself out of breath. Although I don't do that every day, I probably should. Because then your body's like in fight or flight. I mean, your body's smart. Right. So if it has to like get out of breath every day, it's like your cardiovascular system, everything stays like ready for action. So I try to do that at least once a week.
That's such good advice. Once a week, you'll take your body. So like, what do you think your heart rate is? Like, what do you take it to?
I think it's like 180. You know, it gets up to like real high.
So when you do Camelback, you go Choya, you go Echo. What do you do?
I go Echo.
And you just go up by yourself, up and back, down?
Yeah.
No shit.
And it's so weird. It's like so therapeutic for me. Actually, going down is more therapeutic than going up.
Do you not have any pain, like knee pain anywhere? Like I find now as I get older, I have certain pains that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like my knee, like.
I mean, it's definitely harder to get off the ground. You know what I mean? When I fall, like when I was younger, I'd jump out of a car and I felt like I was fine. Now I'm like not, you know, but hiking, I don't know what it is.
I got addicted to hiking last year. Yeah. But I didn't do Camelback. I did all around, all the preserves and all that stuff. And I would just go try to get my heart rate up. But then summertime hit and I feel like I haven't got my heart rate up at all. And you can feel it. But I lift, I try to work out 5 days a week. But I don't do, and one day is mobility. The mobility part is crazy, right? And then I do every morning. I have the same routine, and I don't know if it's not necessarily lifting, but I do like one set of everything at 3:30 in the morning to kind of get me ready for the day. Yeah, I feel like I have to do that, and I don't know if it gives me results, but it just moves my blood, you know. There's
one thing that I do. I haven't done it as religiously as I used to, but I start doing. You know what a Murph is? You're on a Murph.
Yeah. Oh, the 100 or whatever it is. Yeah.
2 miles. You got to run 2 miles, and then you do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and 300 squats. And you're supposed to wear a 40-pound vest, so I don't wear the vest every time. But I started doing that more often. And then when COVID happened, I was like, I didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? The gyms, I didn't have a home gym at the time. So I had a pull-up bar, and I think I did 21 straight days of just Murphs.
Whoa.
And then after that, when I started to, like, I liked it. Like, it feels good to do a Murph. I mean, it gasses you. And then you time it. So you're kind of competing against yourself. I do it in like 40 minutes. The world record's like 20 minutes. So, you know, some people can really cook. But I kind of feel like doing that once a week gives me an idea of like how good a shape I'm in, like complete shape.
God, you're next level, dude.
So,
that's great.
So I try to do that. I'm in a rental property right now, and they're going to knock this house down when I'm done. I literally put a pull-up bar right in the living room, like against the ceiling. Like I drilled it right into the ceiling. But I don't know. I like and then I've kind of got into CrossFit. So my neighbor is the founder of CrossFit, and I told him, Greg Glassman, he's a great dude. I told him, I'm like, I want to start doing CrossFit. And I thought I knew, you know what I mean? Because I've worked out a lot. You've worked out a lot. Dude, CrossFit is like,
legit.
It is barbaric stuff. I mean, I'll do some of the workouts, but they are
Did you work out with him, or you would just go to class?
He would just give me workouts, and then he'd show me like some some form stuff here and there. But he would just give me the workouts, and man, dude, they're crazy. And then he told me, I was talking to him once I started asking him more about CrossFit. You know the CrossFit games? You know they do those CrossFit games. A guy died recently doing them. Yeah. Well, those guys do 2 days of CrossFit games. I think they do three workouts per day for 2 days. After that, dude, they can't even move for like 3 months after that. And like there's weird stuff that happens. I mean, they get like blood in their livers because it puts so much tension on you.
Be as healthy as possible.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of positive stuff with CrossFit. Like, because to your point, it gets you super out of breath. It gets every last piece of energy, but you could hurt yourself doing that too. But the net is, Greg used to get asked this question all the time. Like they would give him shit. Like people are hurting their knees and back. He's like, I mean, from working out, there's way more positive that comes out from CrossFit than not, for sure.
What about sauna, cold plunge?
I wish I got in the cold plunge more often.
I got in before I came here today.
You did?
Yeah, my
I
second
need
time today.
To get in there, but I've been getting in. Bryna, my wife, she likes to do yoga in an infrared, sauna box. Mm-hmm. And so I get in there, and there's like lights and stuff in there. So I've been doing that, but I need to get back in the cold plunge. We're remodeling our house, the one down the street from you, and it's gonna have a giant gym, and then it has this room that it's like the wellness room. So it has a cold plunge, badass red light, and a sauna in it. And it has sound therapy in it. It's like its own separate room.
That's sick.
So when that's done, you'll have to come over and check it out.
But that's not bad for a guy that didn't get hired at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple lucky bounces. Yeah.
Wow, man, that's freaking great.
But I'm looking for. We'll be in there in spring, and and it's crazy. We basically, all of our kids moved out, and so we're, you know, in a 7-bedroom, 9-bathroom house, and we're like, this is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just kind of walking around the house reminds you that, you know, all your kids don't live there anymore.
Right. So you just changed it up.
So we were going to actually downsize and go move somewhere else. And then as we started to look at that, just the tax situation and all that, it just made more, we liked the area. It just made more sense to rebuild it. But with the gym, we basically took out all our kids' rooms, and that's going to be like the gym wellness area.
That's awesome.
And then built a guest house like out the other house. But I'm excited about that because I had my own small gym in the backyard, and it was great. I mean, to be able to go work out whenever I wanted was great. But I've been going to like gyms lately. I've been going to Global, and then
that's a nice gym there.
Yeah, Arizona Country Club's way better. The gym.
Oh, really? I haven't been there in a long time.
They just redid
did?
The gym. I mean, it's, you know, not as trendy. There's a bunch of old people in there, but
Right.
like I'm more about like the equipment in there.
Right. What about like this morning, for example? I took. You ever do like the NAD stuff and vitamin drips? Do you do? I don't know the system, but I just started doing NAD. I didn't just start, but I started many years ago doing the NAD IV drips. Do you know those things?
Oh, yeah.
And I heard they were good for you, so I started doing them. But I didn't want to take the time to do the NAD drip, which they tell you the right way is like a 5-6 hour drip, because they're used. From what I heard, it was used to help people get off of heroin. So it's like an 8-hour drip, but it's supposed to be really good for you, right? So that's all I need to know is I hear from somebody. So next, you know, I'm getting a drip. I'm getting 1,000 milligrams, but I want it in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever done that much NAD, but it's nauseous.
Oh, yeah.
I feel it's the worst feeling.
Chest,
So I feel like you're going into heart failure.
Yeah, you feel like you're going to die. I actually, this was more kind of driven by my wife. My sister gives IVs, so she'll come, you know, give me IVs. But like you, I don't like the time, so I literally just get NAD, like
injections.
Yeah,
that's what I just started doing today, or not today, but this morning I did an
you
injection.
Just inject yourself, but it's still like, oh God.
You do the injection like I do this morning at 3:30 in the morning. I inject it, and I'm like, guess it's not that strong. And then about 15 minutes later, I got to sit down. It's like, right?
Yeah.
And it's this terrible feeling.
You feel like it's not going to go away.
Right.
You're like, oh shit, what did I do?
I should have done it right now.
And then it gradually goes away, and you're like, oh God, okay. And then you can't wait to do it again.
Right. I did it. I take the stairs at work every day. I refuse to take the elevator. And today it hit me like I was on the 3rd floor in the stairwell, and I was like, I got to stop for a second. I got to stop. Oh, it's the NAD. Oh God, good. I thought maybe I was dying. What else? Like I do vitamin B shots. I do a little testosterone. I take a bunch of vitamins. I go to see my doctor. I see her all the time. You know.
I mean, peptides. I mean, you got me into the stem cells.
Oh yeah.
I'll never forget that. Remember that?
Yeah.
I ran into you guys at dinner.
Oh yeah, that Vicina place.
Vicina. Yeah. You're like, dude. You have to, and just the conviction in your voice. I'm like, you know what? Like, I mean, it's whatever this is. I'm in.
Okay, wait. So how many times have you done stem cells now?
Probably done 5 or 6 rounds.
Okay. You know, I went about a month and a half ago. I did a whole new thing. I mean, I went to Cancun, same place as we go, ReHealth, and I went to the hospital, and they put me under.
What?
Yeah, because I had Carrie, my doctor's like, you're L5. I was hiking. Like I said, I was hiking. And then all of a sudden one day, it hurt. I couldn't walk. It hurt so bad. She did an MRI, and she's like, your L5's fucked up. And I'm like, what? She goes, it's way fucked up. So I go to the doctor in Cancun. They put me, I get in the hospital, just like you go in a normal hospital, in the gown. They give me the stem cell drip of like 100 million. And then they put me under, and they injected my spine. They went into my bone, and they drilled little holes in my bone, and they did all this stuff and put more stem cells in. Then they put my PRP in the blood in. And anyway, it's supposed to be like in 4 or 5 months, some amazing things are supposed to happen to my back, which, by the way, it worked pretty quick. I had like 0 back pain. Like, it's pretty amazing, yeah. And then I've gone to Cabo a couple times, once for the drip. But my next thing is I've done one session of the killer cells. Have you done those yet?
Yeah, I did that. The last round I did 90 days before I got the last round of stem cells. I did the NK.
Do you feel stuff? Do you feel anything?
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like my body's like somewhat used to it, not in a bad way, but in a good way. Like the first time I did it, I was like, I had like a fever for like a week, and then
you could stop eating too, right?
Oh yeah. I still that's my like crux. So sometimes I like the thing that I have to think about is so there's peptides
right.
that are just turn just the brain off for hunger. I have to dip into those.
Which one's
sometimes.
that one?
It's called tesofensine.
It turns you off your hunger?
Yeah, it doesn't do what like the
Ozempic stuff.
Yeah, the Ozempic. It doesn't slow down your mechanics.
Yeah, I don't want that.
It's just it was a psych drug that they figured that they were given to kids, and they were like, these kids are not hungry. That's how they discovered it. But tesofensine, I mean, they charge a lot for it. They can get it on at the peptide places.
Oh, I want to
But
try
it's
that.
helpful. I don't take it every day, but it's nice to know that I can if I get super hungry, because I get like hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't not eat when the stem cells are kicking in for, like 2 or 3 hours is like, I'm like starving. I'm like,
Do you drink coffee?
I do now. Yeah.
Okay. That's supposed to help with appetite suppressant too.
Oh, it is? Yeah. I like coffee. I didn't drink coffee for a while because I got Invisalign one time. And so I didn't want to drink coffee to stain it, because that was the whole, like, I want white straight teeth.
Right.
So then I started drinking Celsius. And so I drank a Celsius every morning. And then I started figuring out when I went to work out from the Celsius. I mean, it took me months to figure this out. I was like already out of breath. I was wide awake, but I was like almost like I couldn't catch my breath to start the workout. And it took me a while to get into the workout. So then I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. So I quit drinking Celsius and quit drinking coffee. And then for a while I felt so good on no caffeine. And then I gradually started working into like a cup of coffee a day, which I don't think is, black coffee.
I found an energy drink that somebody told me about, and they said it's the only energy drink on the market that's healthy for you. Like all these other energy drinks that are out there, all of them, they give you the minimum FDA required for whatever, right? So this friend of mine tells me, he's a trainer, and he tells me about this drink, and I became obsessed with it. And it tastes delicious, and it's supposed to be really, really good for you. It's got 1,000 milligrams of everything. The caffeine, I think, is 400 milligrams of caffeine, but all the other stuff, it's called Gorilla Mind. You ever heard of it? It's freaking fantastic.
I thought you were going to be like, oh, this is it right
here.
No,
this is the hydrogen water thing. You heard about the hydrogen water?
Oh yeah, no.
Okay.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't, you cannot buy this, Max. You can't. This doesn't exist anywhere in the United States. Yeah. So this is hydrogen water in a can. So it tastes just like water. But what happens is these people back in the day, like Gary Brecka and stuff, they were selling this thing where you put the button and the bubbles go up. Yeah. Right, and it turns your water into hydrogen. I bought that. It broke 3 weeks later, and it cost $400. Then they started having these pills that you pop in your water, and it dissolves and turns into hydrogen water. And they say hydrogen water is supposed to be really good for you. I don't know. I didn't have the time to wait for the pills. And I meet this woman, because I'm talking about it on the air, and she says, I'm bringing this company to the United States. And they're in Australia right now, and it's exactly what it is. And you just open it and drink. And so she sends a couple cases every once in a while, and I drink it. Eventually, it's going to come to the United States. I don't know when. I set her up with Craig DeMarco. Yeah, he's going to start carrying it, and he fell in love with it. He's going to try to put it in air guitar, and at Postino and at LGO. And then I talked to my friend that runs One Stop Nutrition. Do you know Brian? One Stop.
Oh yeah.
He said they sent her. I asked her to send him a case, and he's going to try to get it in all his stores. But right now you can't. Even if you call them in Australia, they can't send it to you. But it's to me, it's simple, pop and go. I drink one every day.
I think it's good. You know what I'm pretty addicted to is this B12 injected water.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's actually
B12 shots.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's a guy that I know well's company. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. But
is it available? Like
black can? Yeah, I think he's going to get it in Target. But so the B12 water is like I do a B12 shots almost every day anyway.
Every day?
Yeah, because my B12 is just. I'd go to the doctor and I do it once a week, and they're like, just do a little bit every day.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I do now. But so the B12 water. My wife swears by it. Like she absolutely loves it. So in the morning, I just slam a whole one of this B12 injected water. And for altitude sickness, like if you're going skiing, like that's a hack for hangovers. B12 water is like great. I think I told my sister who does IVs, I'm like, you need to bring one of these. Like you're going to distinguish yourself by saying, okay, before I give you an IV, you're going to give you this B12 water. Because clearly most people are getting it because they're dehydrated or they want to feel better. It's like I'd start with that. Like this is going to start getting it in your body. I'm also going to put some in you, but like let's hit it from both sides.
Do you feel it right away when you drink it?
I don't necessarily now because I drink so much of it.
But you don't know what it's called.
Yeah, give me a second. I cannot believe I have got.
Right now though, it is available. He's going to get it in Target, but right now it's available.
Yeah, I have to look it up because if somebody's watching, it is that good. It's like a badass brand. This guy has done.
The Gorilla Mind guy that he's the guy. God, what's his name? He's real famous too. You ever heard that guy does more plates, more dates or whatever?
Yeah,
that's him. That's his company. he has the Gorilla Mind.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, he's fat. He's the guy that popped Liver King.
Yeah.
He's the one that had the Liver King emails or something like that.
So the water is called Acid Rainwater. I can't believe I forgot.
That's a great name
for this. I mean, and it's like, it is such a good brand. Whoops. Like the branding on it.
What happened to your protein bars?
Oh, that actually, so the branding, they're black. It's like a black can, but they're badass branding. So what happened to the protein bars is this.
Those are good.
So it's coming back alive. Mm-hmm. But so what happened was we get in the supplement business. We were making some progress, but not enough progress because everything was, we were getting it, God, I can't remember the approval that you get in it, but you have to certify like almost every like production run. Mm-hmm. So it costs a little bit more, and we kind of want to do that. So anyway, it got to a point where like it wasn't growing like as fast as we wanted. So this other company ended up, it's called Thrival, the company. They ended up buying all the shares of the, like, so I got a stock deal from them, which I think is like, I don't know, 400,000 shares of that. And so they're called Thrival Energy Bars now, and it's the formula that they bought. And now they are about to go in every Army barracks out there. And so the guy's telling me, he's like, no, I just saw the new branding, and he sent me some bars. So now it could potentially, so Pete Heseth, the guy that works for the department.
Tattooed guy.
Yeah. He basically loves it, and it's got some like military background. And if you think about it, one of the problems with the bars is that for the purists that do, like you've used yucca before.
Yeah.
So it tells. So in order
I told you guys about yucca.
We start yucca and everything. And we, next thing you know,
I said
Brandon,
you're going to be addicted to it. Right.
He threw away all of her cosmetics the next day. So it had like to keep the bars on the shelf, it has to have shelf life. It has to have a preservative in it, which usually isn't good. So that was like the only, kind of negative thing. But when you think about the best, like I just thought about this after they were telling me like it's going to go in the Army, and then it's going to go to some other military like bases. And if you think about it, the best contract ever to have for supplements would be the military that's buying, like promising to buy a certain amount. So I guess it's still like going.
That's crazy.
And there is hope. And then there was some crazy story where the bar itself, it's like how it's made. It has a nootropic in it, and how it's made and what it's made out of. It's literally like if you were on a mountain and you were deserted, and you had the small amount of something to keep you alive the longest. That's how this bar is built. And so the story of the Thrival person that took it over is they had a relative that basically died because they didn't have enough time to be found. By the time they found them, they were dead because they starved to death from not having nutrition. So it literally, that story resonated with this investor from Thrival, so they bought the formula. So I'm still hoping that it comes back around.
But you still have, it's still yours. Or you have 400,000 shares?
Shares of this Thrival company, yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's like, it's only like 8% of that company.
Oh. Wait, you know what I want to get into really quick before we wrap up is the way you enjoy life. Like the vacations you take, the trips you take, the Gumball Rally.
Yeah.
Explain is it the Gumball Rally? That's what it's called?
Yeah, the Gumball 3000.
The Gumball 3000.
Man, that was fun. I did it twice, but I did it in 2015. And it's basically, it's a point-to-point rally. So it's like, fun. You go to some cool places. But the guy, Maximilian Cooper, that owns it is married to Eve.
And rapper Eve?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's cool. I just had him on my podcast not too long ago. Awesome dude. Like, I mean, he built this company basically from the ground up. Like, he knew fashion because he was like a model for a while, and cars. And so he kind of just blended everything together in like the skate world. And so he started doing the Gumball, just inviting like people from those three, kind of like industries. And this was like maybe the 30th one, but now it's like, the company's big. So they change the route every year. This past year, it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It went from Istanbul to Mykonos. So, I mean, sometimes they go multiple continents.
Isn't Mykonos on an island?
Yeah, so they flew the cars there and just finished it at so they do some.
So you sign up to do it.
You sign up
So
to
when
do
you
it.
did it, where did you go? And
We went Stockholm to Oslo to Copenhagen to Amsterdam. And then once we got to the stadium in Amsterdam, they took the cars, put them on a plane, and then we got on a plane next to it and flew to Reno. And then got off the plane in Reno in the cars. It was a long flight. And then went from Reno to San Fran to LA, and then the finish line was in Vegas.
But are you hauling ass? Like,
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
a race.
Yeah.
But the rules are if you get pulled over, you get pulled over? Or?
If you get pulled over, yeah, I got a 5,000 euro ticket, and going into Amsterdam, I was going like 175 miles an hour for like 10 minutes. There was 4 of us that they pulled over.
And what kind of car were you in?
I was in a 911, like a modified 911, 775 horsepower.
But that comes with, like, you pick the car you want when you sign up?
Yeah, you build it. Actually, my friends that went with me, there was 3 couples, so there were 6 of us, and they played a joke on me, and they had the shipping company call me and tell me that my car fell in the ocean. Because I customized this thing. I mean, like, did everything I possibly could, and was like, and they called and they totally punked me and told me this car fell off the ship and they dropped it in the ocean. That's what this company told me. I was like, they thought I was going to be so much more mad. I kind of was like, oh, well, that sucks. What are we going to do? You know? And they're like, oh, we're just joking.
So you sign up, you build the car you want. They build the car for you.
No, you build your own car and you ship it over there.
You build your own car.
And then ship it there.
So you have to buy your own 911, build it.
Whatever car, you can drive whatever you want.
Like, do you still have the car?
I don't have that one, no.
So after you built, so you got to work a year or 2 in advance?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you definitely, you have to think about it, think it out. And then you ship it over, and then it's basically, like, you want to drive fast, not because it's necessarily a race. Like, nobody's getting, like, prizes for being first. But when you go into different cities, like, the second year, one of those stops was London, and it was like a banker's holiday in London. There was 1 million people in the streets waiting for this thing. So you're pulling into this, like, the biggest parties ever that are basically celebrating the rally going there. And then there's always an event that night. So you go to the event, which are like crazy. Like, you know, I remember Oslo was like, you know, these people were like, they're awesome. And in Europe, the gumball is like the biggest thing. Like, they think you're like Tom Brady, like every person that's driving a car when they get out. Wow. They like want to interview you. So, and the kids, it's a bigger deal for them. But it's a lot of fun. So we've done that twice. I don't know. I think.
How many people are in the gumball?
It's usually 100 cars.
Wow.
And then, you know, a lot of camera people and a lot of like chase cars and just other stuff.
Jeez,
and every city, there, you know, it's like a whole new like venue.
Right.
And
but then I've seen you a couple on Instagram where you helicopter into the EDM festival.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You live life at a 10.
I like to go at it pretty hard. I mean, I think you gotta like have fun with it for sure. We've done I've traveled quite a bit. Like, I was thinking about over the last like 10 years. I haven't counted, but probably been to like 40 different countries.
What's your favorite vacation you've been on in the last 10 years?
I think like what immediately comes to my head, we did spring break in Tokyo with all the family. Mm-hmm. And it was the best. I don't know. Like Tokyo, if you've never been to Tokyo, have you been?
Never been. It's on our list.
It's Tokyo. It's such an interesting place. Absolutely fascinating. Like, the Japanese are so smart. Like, and like, just everything's clean. The way they treat people, the way they treat elders, like it's like, I think how we wish we treated people, you know, in our society.
Did you just stay there for a week?
We stayed in Tokyo. Right downtown Tokyo. And then, like, the thing about Tokyo is, like, so many people there. It's like 100 times more dense than Phoenix. So, like, there's an underbelly just, like, underneath the city is, like, the subways and the trams. I mean, that's a whole nother city. Right. Like, the train station has, like, hundreds of restaurants and stores in it. It's, like, this biggest, you know, it's like a giant place. But it was that had to be my favorite one. All the kids loved it. There's stuff, you know, always to do. But we did Tokyo for 4 days, and then we went to I can't think of the other city we went to. Very common like city, and we took a train there. They took a bullet train there, which was fun too.
But would you say your favorite place, or is it Gaza or Coeur d'Alene?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely my favorite spot. Yeah, it's so cool too, because I think if it was an all year round thing, I could go there at any time. I don't think it'd be as cool.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as it ends, you get to look forward to going back to Coeur d'Alene for summer. I mean, so
does it end because of the snow and the cold?
I stayed there in COVID. We stayed till October, and it still hadn't gotten really cold. So Coeur d'Alene doesn't get like super cold, not like the Midwest. I mean, it'll get like 20s maybe, but not a lot. So it doesn't get extremely cold. We'll go there for Thanksgiving this year. Again, they open it up for Thanksgiving. But I would say Coeur d'Alene is my favorite place. My daughter would agree. My 7-year-old would say
that place is great, man.
It's her favorite place. I grew up and I was born in Spokane, Washington. My dad took me to Coeur d'Alene growing up. Like that's how I kind of like knew about it and kind of got back there. Mm-hmm. And then he told me since I was like 10 years old, like he'd take me boating on a little wood boat. It was a Chris Craft, and we played backgammon and stuff on the lake. But since I was 10, he's like, Max, when I die, which was like a weird thing because he didn't really talk about death much. But he's like, when I die, I want you to throw my ashes out on Coeur d'Alene. And then he died 8 years ago, and so we went through his ashes out on the lake, and we kind of already knew about it. And then me and my brother played golf at Geyser, and he ended up buying a place down in Black Rock, which is at the south end of the lake, and then we've been in Geyser ever since.
Wow. So every time you're on the lake, I mean, your dad's there.
Oh, yeah.
You think about that every time? All the time? I mean,
oh yeah, that was the spot.
That's awesome. That's all.
Even the lake club, which you've spent a lot of time down there. That used to be a bar called Eddie's, and my dad would we drive there, and he would we would drive the boat, and he would drink, and it was it's like right back to the same spot.
Yeah, it's cool because Gaza right now is the place, right? But for you, it's authentic.
Yeah,
I mean, for you, it's like you were going to Coeur d'Alene your entire life.
Yeah,
right? And now it's like that's the Hollywood hotspot right now. It's in the news all the time, or at least during summertime, right?
Did I tell you? So I had a 50th birthday at Joe. We were talking about Joe Polish earlier at his ghost town or mining town.
Oh, this was the Burning Max?
Burning Max, yeah.
Yes.
So I have that, and the DJ. So I have all the DJs in the world. There's a guy that I like the best. His name's Z-Trip, and he's our age. So he's like, for a DJ that's 52. I mean, It's hard to be super popular, but all DJs really respect Z-Trip. He's incredible at his craft. So he plays my birthday, and I got to, obviously know him because it's my birthday. So I got to know him, and then it was so good. The music I was so impressed with the music. He literally had me talk him through, my whole music upbringing, what I started listening to. I mean, it started with NWA and Too Short, and all the way through all the years. And he played every type of music that was exactly what I asked him. I probably told him, he's like, tell me more songs. I told him 75 songs, and these were all different speeds and stuff too.
He mixed them all in.
So perfect. So we threw a party at the Tree Bar, and he played, and it absolutely crushed it. The members were so excited. I mean, there was
Did he just stay at your house?
He stayed at the condo.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but it was so fun. Yeah, so that was.
You had to rock that neighborhood. Dude, my wife and I went to a party at U of A, and Tommy Lloyd, the basketball coach, invited us, and he gave us these VIP passes, backstage passes, and Mixmaster Mike, you know who he is?
Yeah.
With the Beastie Boys, was mixing, and he's our age too, and he blew my mind. One of the best performances I've ever seen, ever. And you think about it, it's,
yeah.
And it was from Beastie Boys to Rapper's Delight to Paul Simon to the way they can mix this music.
That's what Z-Trip does. That's exactly what he would do. Yeah.
Rush, Van Halen, and I was like, it was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. It might be up there with my top 5 concerts of all time, if you call that a concert. I don't even know what you call it.
Yeah. I have an hour set. I'll download it. He did a yacht rock version. Everybody has their yacht rock version. Dude, it's so good.
Wait, he did a yacht rock version for you, and it's
it was for Sirius Radio or something.
Oh, so you can go listen to it?
Yeah, I have it. I download on my phone. You could find it on SoundCloud actually.
Yeah, because my wife's a huge Psycho Yacht Rock fan. But
yeah,
anyway.
It is the best yacht rock you'll ever listen to. I'm not joking. I literally, obviously I know the guy, so I'm a little bit favorable, but all that music is the classic music that my dad listened to. And to hear it mixed up in a way, and you'll see it starts to get a little faster, but it still keeps it classic. But I literally listen to it now, like at least a couple times a week. It like grounds me. I'm not
that's
joking.
awesome.
Or when I'm playing golf and I'm not playing good, I turn on yacht rock and then I kind of like get right back into the swing.
Well, dude, thanks for being on my podcast, man.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, that was great. That's my friend Max. Okay, so welcome to our podcast. This is a little bit different today because this podcast is a spin-off of our radio show.